Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Israel launches a fresh wave of broad-scale strikes on infrastructure targets Tehran as the West Asia conflict enters day 8. Donald Trump says US defense manufacturing companies agree to quadruple production of exquisite class weapons. Ex-rapper Balen Shah's Rashtriya Swatantra Party is heading towards a sweeping victory in Nepal's general elections, with early trends showing the party leading in over 100 constituencies. In sports, Lakshya storms into men's singles semi-finals of prestigious All England Open Badminton Championships to face Canada's Victor Lai in the last 4 clash today. News coming in from West Asia. Israel's military said more than 80 fighter jets completed a wave of strikes on Iranian military sites, missile launchers and other targets in Tehran and central Iran on Saturday. The IDF in a statement said that over 80 Israeli Air Force fighter jets completed an additional wave of strikes targeting infrastructure belonging to the Iranian regime. So in a major escalation of the ongoing conflict in West Asia, the Israeli military says more than 80 fighter jets of the Israeli Air Force carried out a large-scale wave of airstrikes on Iranian military targets on Saturday. So the strikes reportedly targeted missile launch sites, military infrastructure and strategic facilities belonging to the Iranian regime in Tehran and central Iran. Earlier, Israel announced a new wave of broad-scale strikes on Tehran on Saturday as US President Donald Trump said only Iran's unconditional surrender would bring an end to the escalating conflict, while Iran also launched attacks on Israel and its Gulf neighbors. The Israel Defense Forces detected another round of Iranian missile fire headed towards Israel after a series of explosions were heard in the Israeli commercial hub of Tel Aviv following the Iranian launches. Israel said that Iran had launched cluster bombs multiple times since the start of the conflict. Israel has been hitting southern Lebanon in its battle against the Iran-backed Hezbollah militia. Israeli Defense Forces completed an additional wave of strikes against terror targets in Dahiyeh district in Beirut. IDF said Iran's threat extends far beyond its borders, and together with the United States, we are dismantling this terror network.
In recent days, Hezbollah has expanded their attacks against Israel. As a result, IDF soldiers have been injured in the northern border. If our soldiers weren't there, this fire, and even worse, would have been directed at our civilians in the north. Their actions, Hezbollah's actions, prove what we've said time and time again. Hezbollah is still a dangerous force present in southern Lebanon. Iran built a regional network of terror, spreading to Lebanon to threaten Israel and destabilize the Middle East. Together with our allies, we are dismantling that network.
Another big news coming in from West Asia. Saudi Arabia's Defense Minister Prince Khalid bin Salman urged Iran on Saturday to avoid miscalculation following missile and drone launches at the kingdom. In a series of statements early Saturday, the Saudi Defense Ministry said it had thwarted repeated missile launches at an air base which houses US military personnel and drone attacks at a major oil field. So the conflict in West Asia appears to be widening, with fresh Israeli strikes on Tehran and retaliatory attacks by Iran. Attacks also reported in Iraq, including near Baghdad and Erbil airports. And now the news coming in that Saudi Arabia Defense Minister has clearly said Prince Khalid bin Salman, he has in fact urged Iran to avoid miscalculation following missile and drone launches at the kingdom. Now, Saudi Arabia, the world's top oil exporter, reported at least 2 drone attacks earlier this week that targeted the Ras Tanura refinery in the east. The Defense Ministry earlier posted on X that a ballistic missile launched towards Prince Sultan Air Base, southeast of the capital Riyadh, was intercepted and destroyed. The official Saudi press agency later reported another missile attack at the same base, saying it was also intercepted, quoting a Defense Ministry spokesperson. The news agency also reported a series of drone attacks targeting the Shah oil field near the Emirati border. The drones were intercepted and destroyed. And authorities in Dubai have confirmed that there has been a minor incident resulting from the fall of debris after an interception. In a statement, the Dubai media office said the incident has been successfully contained with no injuries reported. An explosion was also heard in Bahrain's capital Manama on Saturday, where a warning siren sounded. Bahrain's Interior Ministry posted on X, urging citizens and residents to remain calm and head to the nearest safe place. On diplomatic front, Russian President Vladimir Putin held a telephonic conversation with his Iranian counterpart Masoud Pezeshkian on Friday and conveyed his condolences on the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He reaffirmed Russia's stance of immediate cessation of hostilities and said that he was in constant contact with leaders of the Gulf Cooperation Council member states. As per the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Masoud Pezeshkian expressed gratitude for Russia's solidarity with the Iranian people. The Foreign Ministry noted that it was agreed that contact will be maintained with the Iranian side via various channels. And global air travel remains severely disrupted after the Israel-Iran conflict forced the closure of key West Asian hubs including Dubai, Doha and Abu Dhabi, stranding tens of thousands of passengers worldwide and disrupting thousands of flights. Qatar Airways said that repatriation flights to a number of European cities would begin on Saturday, but scheduled commercial flights would remain suspended due to the closure of Qatar's airspace as a result of the regional conflict. Priority on these flights were given to stranded passengers with families, elderly passengers and those with urgent medical and compassionate travel needs. Now, the Indian Embassy in Doha has activated an additional set of helpline numbers to assist Indian nationals amid the developing security situation in West Asia. The embassy shared contact information on X. The embassy also appreciated the Indian community organizations, Indian Cultural Center and ICBF, Indian Community Benevolent Forum, who have established helplines and help desks to provide assistance to the Indian community in the current situation. Meanwhile, the Embassy of India in Kuwait, in a post on X, urged citizens and residents to follow the instructions by the General Staff of the Armed Forces if any missiles or unknown objects are observed falling. And US President Donald Trump said the defense companies had agreed to quadruple production of what he called exquisite class weaponry following a White House meeting. In a post on Truth Social, the president said expansion of production facilities had already begun 3 months ago and that new plants were already underway. He added that the US want to reach as rapidly as possible the highest levels of quantity. It comes despite Trump also claiming in the same post that the US had a virtually unlimited supply of munitions, which he said are currently being used on Iran. And the US State Department approved the sale of $151.8 million worth of munitions to Israel on Friday. The sale of 12,000 requested 470-kilogram bomb bodies was approved by the State Department's Bureau of Political Military Affairs, according to a press release. The proposed sale will improve Israel's capability to meet current and future threats, strengthen its homeland defense, and serve as a deterrent to regional threats. US President Donald Trump said Iran's army, navy, communications, and their leaders are gone.
Iran were doing very well. Somebody said, how would you score it from 0 to 10? I said I'd give it a 12 to a 15. Their army is gone. They're just about, look, their navy is gone. Their communications are gone. Their leaders are gone. And we had a choice. We could take it and go on like that for years or do something about it. And we did something about it. And people are very impressed with our military and they admire our military.
And in other news, US President Donald Trump will host Latin American and Caribbean leaders on Saturday at the first Shield of the Americas Summit to discuss issues facing the region, from organized crime to illegal immigration. Among the leaders to attend the summit are Argentina's President Javier Milei, Ecuador's Daniel Noboa, and El Salvador's Nayib Bukele. In addition to these leaders, Trump will host the leaders of Bolivia, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Guyana, Honduras, Panama, Paraguay and Trinidad and Tobago, as well as Jose Antonio Cast, the President-elect of Chile. The first Shields of the Americas Summit will include a signing of the Doral Charter, which will affirm the right of the peoples of the hemisphere to chart their own destiny free from interference. In other news, armed terrorists attacked a town in northeastern Nigeria on Friday, abducting more than 300 people, including women and children. The attack happened in the town of Ngosha in Borno State. According to local officials, the attack was likely in retaliation for an operation by the military that killed 3 commanders of Boko Haram group. No one immediately claimed responsibility for Friday's attack. Nigeria is battling a complex security crisis from different armed groups. The United States has sent troops to the West African nation to help advise its military on the fight, in fact, against insecurity. Yes, armed terrorists attacked a town in northeastern Nigeria, abducting more than 300 people, including women and children. The attack happened in the town of Ngoshe in Borno State. The attack was likely in retaliation for an operation by the military that killed 3 commanders of Boko Haram group. No one immediately claimed responsibility for this attack, but Nigeria is battling a complex security crisis from different armed groups. And in fact, the United States has sent troops to the West African nation to help advise its military on the fight against insecurity. And big news coming in from Iran. Explosions hit Iranian capital. Iranians have woken up to the sounds of massive explosions in Tehran and elsewhere in the country as the conflict launched by the United States and Israel goes into its second week. Foreign ministers of the Arab League will hold an emergency meeting on Sunday to discuss Iranian attacks on the territories of several Arab countries. The meeting, which will be held via video conference, was requested by Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, Jordan and Egypt. So it's a major development. Explosions hit Iranian capital Tehran, and foreign ministers of the Arab League now will hold an emergency meeting on Sunday, that is tomorrow, to discuss Iranian attacks on the territories of several Arab countries. And the meeting, which you are getting to know, that will be held via video conference, requested by Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, Jordan and Egypt. All right, we are slipping into a very short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India Live.
Nature is sounding the alarm, and when our ecosystems are under pressure, our lives are impacted too. In today's episode, we take a look at how these two are coming together to help us adapt and respond to a changing world.
When you conduct agriculture with Kadai cattle, you don't need to provide any extra materials or any other natural inputs to that field.
The AI does not see animals in the pictures, which then have to be found by humans. But also there are certain species, especially rare species, where we don't have a lot of pictures to train the AI, that the AI then cannot classify in turn.
Thanks to Santosha's information and awareness classes, that myth has disappeared. Now if we encounter a dangerous snake like a cobra, we immediately call Santosh to perform a rescue.
Welcome back. You're watching Lead India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. President Draupadi Murmu will attend the 9th International Santal Conference being organized by the International Santal Council in Darjeeling, West Bengal. The council works for the preservation of the culture, language and welfare of the Santal tribe and indigenous communities spread across India and Bangladesh. The annual conference brings together community leaders and scholars to discuss heritage, education and economic opportunities for the Santal community. And final day of the Raisina Dialogue is underway. Focuses on the future, global order and economic resilience with discussions on maritime security, supply chains and strategic rivalries. Sessions are examining maritime security challenges across the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea, including threats to undersea communication cables and the growing use of autonomous maritime systems. Across the discussions, India is expected to highlight its role as a bridge between developed economies and the global south while presenting its long-term vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. This year's Raisina Dialogue is themed Sanskar, Assertion, Accommodation, Advancement, reflecting the idea of civilizations asserting identity, accommodating differences and advancing through refinement. And Sanjeev Sanyal, member of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister of India, attended the Raisina Dialogue 2026 on Saturday. Speaking on the shipping industry at the Raisina Dialogue, Sanjeev Sanyal said India has world-class maritime institutes like the Directorate of Marine Engineering Training in Kolkata. He added that new shipyards are needed and that India is building new ports, some with shipbuilding capabilities.
We do have some excellent institutes in India. For example, Kolkata has something called DMET, now it's called the Maritime University. It's world class. If you go around the world, you'll be surprised. I mean, something like 20% of all the global fleets, the people running those engines are from India. In the general area, there are other places where ships are being built, yes. So yes, there is the Swan facility, which is in Gujarat, but there are several now all along the coast, all the way down south to Cochin, and up the other coast, all the way up to Garden Reach. Right now, if you go and ask our shipyards, they have stuffed with orders for at least 5 years. New shipyards are needed, and we are building completely brand new ports, some of which will have shipbuilding capability as well.
And every year on 7th March, India celebrates Jan Aushadhi Divas. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings on Jan Aushadhi Divas on social media platform. PM said, and I quote him here, "On Jan Aushadhi Divas 2026, my best wishes to all those who have been positively impacted by the Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana. This initiative reflects our commitment to ensuring that every citizen has access to quality medicines at affordable prices. Through Jan Aushadhi Kendras, countless families are saving on healthcare expenses and receiving proper treatment." Unquote. And Prime Minister Modi also shared glimpses of the transformative impact of Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana, highlighting how the initiative is making quality medicines affordable and accessible to millions of people across India. And the objective of this day is to raise awareness among people about quality and affordable generic medicines and to inform them that effective treatment is possible even at lower cost. The central government's Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana is an important initiative in this direction. More details. The aim of the Indian government is to provide relief to common people from the heavy expenses on medicines during treatment. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Jan Aushadhi initiative has emerged as a significant transformation in India's healthcare sector. By providing quality medicines at reasonable prices, Jan Aushadhi Kendras are reducing the financial burden on millions of people, especially the poor and the middle class. With more than 18,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendras across the country, affordable healthcare is now becoming a reality for every household. From essential medicines to life-saving treatments, this initiative ensures that no one is deprived of good health due to high cost. On the initiative of Prime Minister Modi, Jan Aushadhi stores are rapidly being opened across the country, where generic medicines are available at 50 to 90% lower prices compared to branded medicines. At Jan Aushadhi Kendras, hundreds of types of medicines are available, including medicines for heart disease, diabetes, cancer, infections, pain relief, and antibiotics. In addition, surgical items and other health-related products are also being provided at lower prices. According to health experts, generic medicines are equal to branded medicines in terms of quality and effectiveness, but the prices are much lower. This is why millions of patients are receiving financial relief in their treatment through Jan Aushadhi Kendras.
जी हाँ, यहाँ मार्केट से सस्ती मिलती है, गरीब लोग के लिए बहुत सहारा हो गया ये।
पहल ठीक है सरकार की, 75% या 50% डिस्काउंट होते हैं।
In many parts of the country, Jan Aushadhi Kendras are becoming a trusted option for poor and middle-class patients. The government has set a target of opening 25,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendras across the country by March 2027. In the direction of making healthcare services accessible and affordable, the Jan Aushadhi scheme is not only providing financial relief to patients, but is also strengthening an equitable and inclusive healthcare system in the country. Nitendra Singh's report for DD India.
And India has strengthened its energy security despite global volatility in oil markets, with strong reserves, diversified imports and expanding domestic initiatives. The country has built a resilient energy framework over the past decade. India today holds over 250 million barrels of crude oil and refined petroleum products, equivalent to nearly 4,000 crore litres, providing a 7 to 8 week buffer across the energy supply chain. Officials say these reserves act as a buffer during disruptions while regular imports continue. Only about 40% of India's crude imports pass through the Strait of Hormuz. On LPG, even as Saudi CP benchmark prices rose 16% between November 2025 and February 2026, domestic LPG prices remain unchanged. India's 20% ethanol blending initiative is reducing dependence on imported crude. Public sector companies such as Indian Oil Corporation, Bharat Petroleum and Hindustan Petroleum absorbed significant losses to protect consumers from global price shocks. And in Nepal, hundreds of supporters took to the streets across the Himalayan nation, singing, dancing and celebrating as former mayor of Kathmandu, Balen Shah's party, Rashtriya Swatantra Party, claimed an absolute 2/3 majority in the parliamentary election in the country's House of Representatives as counting continues. Supporters danced to songs praising the soon-to-be Prime Minister Balen Shah, popularly known as Balen, at counting centres, ringing the bells, the election symbol of the party. Balendra Shah, a former rapper and mayor, is poised to become the next Prime Minister of the Himalayan nation after a clean sweep in the election held in the wake of last year's September youth-led protest, which toppled the government led by KP Sharma Oli. All right, news just coming in. Balendra Shah has won from Jhapa. He defeated former Prime Minister of Nepal, KP Sharma Oli. So big news coming in. Balendra Shah, people are in fact already celebrating his victory. He has won from Jhapa. He has in fact defeated former Prime Minister of Nepal from that seat, KP Sharma Oli. In badminton, Lakshya has stormed into the men's singles semi-finals of the prestigious All England Open Championships in Birmingham. Lakshya defeated China Li Shifeng 21-13, 21-16 in the quarterfinal last night. The world number 12, Lakshya, will face Canada's Victor Lai in the last four clash today. To reach this stage, Lakshya had to go through Hong Kong's Eng Ka Long Angus in the round of 16 encounter on Thursday, before which he had stunned top seed and defending champion Shi Yu Ki in the first round on Tuesday. Lakshya is the only Indian left in the fray after the mixed doubles pair of Dhruv Kapila and Tanisha Crasto retired against Hong Kong qualifiers. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. You stay tuned for more news and updates. Namaskar.